Hey, what's up, guys? Today I just want to talk about the difference between the Benchmade Infidel and the Microtech Dirac Delta. I'm still pretty new to YouTube, so forgive me if I misspeak or make any mistakes. If you'd like to know anything that I don't list in this video, please just give me a comment and I'll go over it in a future video. So I'm comparing these two knives because they're pretty comparable in terms of size. They're both about 9 inches long if you exclude the glass breaker, which typically I do whenever measuring a knife. So yeah, both about 9 inches long. However, in that 9 inches, you get more blade with the Infidel. That's something that means a lot to me, that I like a lot. I like a good blade to handle ratio. And from an engineering perspective, it is a lot harder to get a better blade to handle ratio because typically the longer your blade, the less of a tang you have inside, and the more play, the more wobble you have in the blade. And that's true here also for the Infidel. The Infidel definitely has more both side to side and front to back blade play. Not by as much as you would think. However, the Infidel's blade play, I think, also is a lot to do with the thickness of the blade, or lack thereof, really. It's a fairly thin blade, especially whenever you compare it to the Dirac. Let's see, that should be about right. I don't have the measurements off the top of my head. I don't have any calipers to do right now. But I do think if Benchmade went for a thicker blade, I think that would solve a lot of the issues with the blade play. As far as action goes, whenever I originally got this knife, the action was very thick and I almost couldn't get it sometimes. However, clean it up a little bit with some contact cleaner and use a little bit of CPL, and it's extremely smooth now. The Infidel, however, is by far the smoothest OTF I've ever deployed. And I think it's made like that intentionally. Some people like the snappiness of an OTF, and Microtech usually tends to be snappier. However, I think the Infidel has been designed considering people that wear gloves. You know, people in the military, policemen. And if you're going to be somebody that wears gloves a lot, I definitely think the Infidel is something to consider because that ease of deployment. The spring, from my understanding, also isn't under as much tension as the Microtech. So I've often wondered about the durability aspect. If that spring in the Infidel would last longer than, say, the Microtech that's under more stress. I may be misunderstanding that. Let's see. Let's look at some other comparisons. So the belt clip, you know, a lot of people say the Infidel has the best belt clip. They're both deep carry. However, I would say the Microtech, because the Microtech will grip really any pants, whether you're wearing blue jeans, work pants, or joggers. You know, typically if I'm going to the gym, I'll carry one of these just, you know, to get there, and I'll take it out. But I know that it'll never fall out of my pockets. You know, I've worked out on a decline bench before with this in my pocket. It's not that I typically do that, and it's never slid out. However, the Infidel almost certainly would. Other things to consider are maintainability. I should probably note this also. This Infidel, I did replace the T6 screws that came with it with these aftermarket T8 screws. I think that it was a good decision. They stick out a little bit more than the OEM ones, but I do like the T8 over the T6, and I think it looks pretty neat. This is the S30V edition, number 250, and this Dirac actually came with a black Cerakote. I did sand it off because I wasn't a big fan, and I got this used. This is a 2019 model. I don't remember the blade still off the top of my head. I don't think it's the M390, but either way, my opinions on which knife is better. Well, if you had to choose one, I would probably go with the Dirac Delta if that blade to handle ratio doesn't bother you. I do think it's a little bit stiffer, in terms of the blade play. I think it feels firm, and it's not that the Infidel is bad, but the blade play with the Infidel, it's almost like with the Dirac, whenever you hit that wall, it doesn't move anymore. So it'll shift, but then it'll stop, stop. Whereas with the Infidel, it almost feels a little gummy. So it feels like if you push hard enough, you might be able to bend the blade. So, and it's a little bit hard to describe. Hopefully I'm getting that clue through clearly. But anyway, so yeah, for most people, I'd probably go with the Dirac Delta. Also the price point, I got this one used for $260. I think brand new, they come in about $400, a little bit less maybe. The Infidels come in at around $500. I got this one on sale from DLT for $450, and for that price, I mean, it's still pretty high, but it's not too terrible. They're pretty comparable in that price range. Also, the Infidel comes with the chisel grind, whereas the Microtech has a more traditional grind. So if that's something you prefer, something to consider also. But yeah, like I said, guys, I'm pretty new to YouTube. Hopefully I covered most of the details here. I will say also, before I end this video, I do think the blade steel in the newer Microtechs, being M390, I do think it's a better quality steel than the D2 or S30V. They're not bad steels, but I mean, it's just with the money you're paying, I think you're getting a little bit better steel with this one right here. So yeah, if you have any more questions, if anybody has any kind of questions on any knives I review, please post them in the comments and I'll get back to you. So thank you.